Well, hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on MisplacedStraws.com, where music comes to life. And it's finally time for part 2 of the Misplaced Straws Best of 2020. In this video, we'll be counting down the top 10 releases of the year. Previously posted part 1, where we counted down 20 through 11 and highlighted some trends we saw this year. Those trends will continue through the top 10 as well. But to recap what we've done so far, at number 20 was Muse, Will of the People. At number 19, Kings of Mercia's self-titled debut record. At 18 was the self-titled debut from 6x6. 17 was Eric Gale's and Crown. 16, Eliza Neal's Battered to the Bone. 15 saw Pattern Seeking Animals and Only Passing Through. 14 was Clean Break Coming Home. 13, Second Skin from Iconic. 12, Digital Noise Alliance from Queensryche. And at 11 was Ellefson Soto's Vacation in the Underworld. So honestly, entries 10 to 3 could easily have been in any order. I think for me, the top 2 were clear, but the others are all so good they could easily move around this countdown. But to get into the top 10, we start off with number 10 and Skid Row with The Gang's All Here. Now, this top 10 is also going to have its own mini theme of comebacks, and The Gang's All Here certainly shows that Skid Row is back. After cycling through a few singers, I think a lot of people wondered what this band had left, but they went and grabbed one of the great singers and frontmen on the scene today in Eric Grunwald, and they put out their best record in 30 years. This is classic Skid Row with a modern update. And from what I understand, most of the record was written before Eric joined. Now, he's just so talented. I want to see him become part of the creative process and really take this band to new heights. The only issue I have with this record is the sequencing of it, and we talk about that a lot on this site. I think if you rearrange the order of tracks, it'll make for a better record here. For my song pick, I go with the track Not Dead Yet. Coming in at number 9, again, sort of continuing that comeback theme, House of Lords with Saints and Sinners. Now, House of Lords has been putting out great records for a really long time, but this record takes the band back to that keyboard sound, the pomp rock feel of those first 3 records with Greg Giuffria. Now, I love this record so much, I actually interviewed 3 of the band members about this record: singer James Christian, guitarist Jimmy Bell, and newest member, keyboardist Mark Mangold. For my song pick, check out House of the Lord, because I think sonically it totally sums up everything I love about House of Lords. Mark's keyboards are amazing. Jimmy, you don't get a better guitar player, especially in a band like this. And James Christian sounds just as good as ever. Coming in at number 8, the band Thunder Mother and their album Black and Gold. Now, I knew nothing about this band until I saw them step on stage opening for the Scorpions while I was photographing the show, and they just totally blew me away. I went back, I listened to the record, and was even more impressed. It's an all-female band from Sweden. They've been through a lot of lineup changes, but they seem to have found that perfect mix. Black and Gold is just a straight-up rock and roll record with loud guitars and big choruses. And we've seen a lot of great rock bands come out of Sweden in the past decade, but very few have been able to tour the US and really reach out to a new audience the way that Thunder Mother has. Watch out for this band, they're going to be big. My song pick is a track called Hot Mess. And yes, it's a ballad, but it shows off this band's writing skill, their instrumental skill, and more importantly, vocalist Karina Mancini's amazing voice. Coming in at number 7, speaking of comebacks, Jeanette Napolitano and Exquisite Corpses. This record really flew under the radar. I don't even think a lot of people knew that it was released. Jeanette is the ethereal voice of Concrete Blonde. She's been quiet for a few years now, musically anyway. Exquisite Corpses came out early this summer, and it's literally everything you want from Jeanette Napolitano. Her voice is as perfect as ever. Her writing still evokes kind of the romantic, supernatural Southern California imagery that Concrete Blonde was known for. Now, this record revolves around a three-part spoken word story called Pacific Coast Highway, but my song pick is the leadoff track, Leonard Cohen's Roses. The track just immediately brings you back to everything you've ever loved about Jeanette Napolitano and Concrete Blonde. At number 6 is Black Swan and Generation Mind. And this goes back to a theme that we saw in the first part, which is bringing members of different bands together to form something new. Now, the Black Swan debut record was incredible. Second records are always tough, but especially with a band like this, it really seems rare for these super groups to make a second great record. But Robin McAuley, Reb Beach, Jeff Pilson, and Matt Starr did just that. Robin's never sounded better. The writing is incredible, and it just builds so perfectly off of the foundation of the first record. I mean, you could tell that this isn't just four guys phoning in a side project. They take this band seriously, and they created a record that could possibly even surpass their debut album. I mean, one can only hope they get a chance to play some live shows. I've had the opportunity to spend time with all four of these guys, and they're four of the nicest people you ever want to meet. My song pick is one that I talked to Robin McAuley about when we did our interview on this record, and it's also one of his favorites. Check out the track Wicked the Day. That brings us to the top 5. Coming in at number 5, Lonely Robot and A Model Life. Brings us back to the prog wave that we saw in the first part of the videos. Now, I'm a fan of all of John Mitchell's work, from Frost to It Bites, especially Arena. But Lonely Robot's a solo project for him that didn't really grab me at first. The early work under the Lonely Robot name was very sci-fi leaning lyrics and stories, and he's kind of moved away from that with A Model Life, and he wrote this really personal, listenable, modern prog record. And much like most of the prog on this list, this isn't your dad's Tales of Topographic Oceans. These are songs with lyrics everyone could relate to and understand. And for me, John has just never sounded or written better. My song pick is a variation on a theme of celebrating those who take care of people. We've seen a lot of that this year. The track is called Duty of Care. And in our interview, John was really open about being adopted and how this song relates to his feelings about that. Coming in at number 4, we have just a great record from DiVirgilio, Morris, and Jennings called Troika. I don't even know where to start with this record. We have the theme of bringing people together. Prog legends Nick DiVirgilio of Big Big Train and Spock's Beard, Neil Morse of NMB, Transatlantic, his solo work, Spock's Beard, and many others, and Ross Jennings of Haken. It's largely acoustic. Think harmonies lifted right out of the CSN playbook, but it's just truly unlike anything you've ever heard. These are 3 artists at the top of their craft, just creating a style of music that just simply didn't exist before they wrote it. There really isn't anything you could compare this record to, so you just got to listen to it on your own. You'll be amazed. My song pick is called You Set My Soul on Fire. It's a perfect example of just the magic that Troika holds. Coming in at number 3 is Ghost with Impera. Now, it seems like Ghost is a band you either love or you hate. Personally, I like them more and more with every record, and I think Impera sees them setting a new high mark for themselves. Yes, they aren't as heavy as people want them to be, but that's not the band that they are. They're a rock band. Tobias Forge is a master songwriter. He has this gift for melodies that instantly have you singing along with them. Now, I totally understand the people who say, well, the lyrics are cheesy, but that's the point. Ghost has a gimmick and they play it to the hilt. But the fact that they create these amazing, memorable songs within that gimmick is what puts them head and shoulders above similar type of bands. This record is filled with great songs, but my pick is this track Spillways. Okay, time for the top 2. And coming in at number 2, the self-titled debut from Generation Radio. Now, I went back and forth so much with this record between being number 1 and number 2. I think it's easily the record that I listened to the most this year. I had no idea how much I needed this record until I listened to it. Our theme is in place. Jason Sheff of Chicago, Jay DeMarcus of Rascal Flatts, Dean Castronovo from Journey. Now, Dean has since left the band to go back to Journey. He's been replaced by former Tom Petty drummer Steve Ferroni, so they're not missing a beat. This band, it literally takes the best of all of its parts and creates pop rock perfection. It has the slick feel of an 80s record, the big sing-along choruses. You hear each of their bands in every song. Honestly, it's as close to a perfect record as you're going to get. I'm excited to hopefully catch this band live at some point and see what they do next. I mean, it was tough to pick one song from this record, and I really wanted to stay away from the singles. So I picked a track called All Night to Get There. It's fun, it's bright, it's upbeat, just like everything on this record. That brings us to number one. Have you figured out what it is already? You probably should have. Marillion, An Hour Before It's Dark. Now, I've tried really hard not to make this my number one record. It's just too easy. They're my favorite band. This website's named after two of their records. They're all over the wall over there. Everyone expected it to be my number one. Problem is that the record is one of the great artistic statements I have ever heard. There are a handful of records in music history that just completely illustrate the moment that they exist in, but they also sound timeless decades later. Think Green Day's American Idiot. It's a perfect snapshot of post 9/11 America, but 20 years on, it still sounds fresh. Or even something like London Calling from The Clash. With this record, whether it's our role in the environment on tracks like Be Hard on Yourself and Reprogram the Gene, or the dynamic between wealth and happiness and owning something you can hold on to in Sierra Leone, this is an illustration of us as a people in 2022. There's only an hour before it's dark. My song pick closes out the theme that we've been on since the very first pick, and it's called Care. It's a stunning lyric. It's told by somebody going through the journey of an illness. It expertly weaves in the themes of the entire record into one track. She wrapped her arms around me and killed me with love. It's COVID. It's AIDS. In the early day of COVID, simply hugging somebody could kill them. But the ending part of the song, the angels in this world are not on the walls of churches. It's a thank you to every doctor and nurse and first responder who worked during those dark days. This record couldn't be anything but number one. So to recap, at 10, Skid Row, The Gang's All Here. 9 saw House of Lords, Saints and Sinners. 8, Thunder Mother and Black and Gold. 7, The Return of Jeanette Napolitano and Exquisite Corpses. 6, Black Swan's Generation Mind. 5, Lonely Robot of Model Life. 4, DiVirgilio Morrison Jennings with Troika. 3, Ghost with Impera. 2, the self-titled debut from Generation Radio. And number 1, of course, Marillion, An Hour Before It's Dark. Now, thank you guys so much. I get to live out my dreams of talking to people that meant so much in my life. And I only get to do it because you guys click on the videos, you watch the interviews, you click on the posts. It means the world to me. I can't thank you enough. And stay tuned because we even have some bigger and better things coming up in 2023. So there you have it, the best of 2022. Thank you guys and have a great new year.